How do you go from $0 to $4 billion in just 1 year back down to zero? Well, do you remember Clubhouse? Clubhouse launched in 2020, exploded in 2021, and just 1 year after they launched, they were valued at $4 billion. Some would say that the launch time was perfect because we were all locked in our houses and scrolling on our phones all day. This wasn't the Clubhouse founders' first product. They actually spent a decade building 9 other social apps that didn't make it as big as Clubhouse ever did. They had an app that was called Highlight that blew up during South by Southwest, but then quickly dwindled after that. Another app called Roll, where you could share your phone's camera roll with your friends, and another one called Shorts, where you could just get random photos from strangers near you. Very interesting ideas. But what made Clubhouse so special was their exclusivity. It seems like everybody wanted an invite to Clubhouse because every celebrity or investor was on this app. And they were smart and they didn't just make it open to the public, they made you have an invite in order to get on. And exclusivity sells, but I'm not sure if it scales. Raya has done this with being the celebrity dating app, and Soho House we saw just went back to private after being public. It did seem like Clubhouse would stand the test of time because so many investors were investing in Clubhouse. However, one investor here knew the risks, and he said that it was either going to be dead by July or something big. And truthfully, that's the game of venture capital. You never know what makes it, but you're hoping that you land on a unicorn. Another thing that made Clubhouse super risky was that they didn't really have a moat. Essentially, they were just a feature. So they rose in 2021 and then pretty much died off right away. But also, other competitors and other social media platforms were building their own live audio features, and that's all they were, was just features in this already used app. And it's interesting to see that out of all the social media platforms that did copy this feature of Clubhouse, some of them aren't even around anymore. I was curious, since Clubhouse is technically still around, how many users do they have? But the latest published numbers were in 2023, where they dropped from 10 million to 2 million users. And so I downloaded the app myself, and it did feel a bit like 4chan mixed with Reddit, mixed with X, but like the bad parts of it. And it was very interesting topics that they were talking about. And if you go to their website, they are actively hiring. And it's interesting because they advertise themselves as Alpha, which is a product studio, and they mention Clubhouse being their first app, so clearly they're working on something new. And they say that they have years of runway, which makes sense, and I would hope so if you raised $100 million. So do you think that the founders of Clubhouse are working on another big social app hit? Or do you think that social apps are just way too hard to break into?